Alright, we're going to ride up to Blue Moon Cycles and pick up Sigmund. And that's my white M70 Retro that I haven't officially introduced yet. And I've kind of done that on purpose. We put about 3,500 to 4,000 miles on it. We've ridden it to Florida. It's had a few warranty issues. Nothing catastrophic or anything, and we've been sorting it out. And I wanted to wait until I got all that done before I introduced it, and also give you a better, more informed opinion of it than, you know, getting on it when it only had 71 miles last August when I bought it. So we're going to pick it up. I'm kind of excited because kind of be like driving it for the first time. It's had some engine performance issues, little lackluster performance there, and some quirks. Rear brakes, some parts we weren't able to get, and I had to kind of go buy some parts and put on it. They were kind of ugly, but it worked. But we got all that sorted out now, so we're going to ride up and get it using my wife's rig here, the CT. Let me turn around and show you that. Yep, we're going to ride up to Blue Moon on the CT there and pick Sigmund, the white M70, up and bring it home. I'm looking forward to it. So we take the CT and we head off. We're going to be getting on Interstate 20, headed into Atlanta, but we're going to get off before we go all the way into Atlanta. Now, I know a lot of guys find the interstates intimidating, and I just don't, especially out and away from the city here. We're going to be traveling, I think it's 15 to 17 miles or so. We'll be getting off at the Panola Road exit and heading north to go up to Norcross. That way, if you're familiar with the area, we take Panola Road, we turn left on Covington Highway, and then right on, I think it's South Harrison at this point, but that becomes Jimmy Carter Boulevard, which, if you follow it all the way up, takes you straight to Blue Moon. It's about a 65, 66 mile trip, so it's not bad. And I actually find the interstate more preferable than where we are now, which is on Jimmy Carter Boulevard, the trip all the way up. We're coming into the Divergent Diamond over I-85 here, and the first time you do this, it kind of confuses you, but my strategy is to just get in the middle lane and follow it through. I found that the middle lane seems to work best for me. You still get people that cut you off, and it's not bad, but staying in this lane puts you in a position to be in the right lane as you get up to Blue Moon, which is where we're at now. And I was really looking forward to seeing Sigmund again. It's doing good. It just looks beautiful to me, sitting out there with all the other rigs. Yeah, it's just a beautiful rig. You can see my sidecar is level now. And I get off and go around it with the mechanic real quick before we finish up and leave.
Now, inside is the replacement bracket that they finally sent, and then your old brake hose is in there as well.
Well, we're at Blue Moon, and I am picking up Sigmund now. We've gone over a whole list of stuff here, the warranty done on it, and I had to say it's looking good. I'm excited to get out and run it. Did find a few minor issues that were taken care of, reflashed the ECUs to make sure they weren't having a problem. Mechanic said he wrote it and it was running great, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, we rode up here on Georgia. It did great. I'm hoping mine runs as well as this one does. This thing's smooth, even power. I mean, it's just doing great, and it's got about, I guess, 6,000 miles on it or so now. And yeah, it's doing good. We enjoyed that ride. And on this nice February day where it's 80 degrees here in Georgia, I'm loving that too. So I'm looking forward to the ride here. Maybe all that hesitation and popping that just keeps coming and going will be finally gone.
With breathless anticipation, I turn on the switch, press the start button. The steed rumbles to life. Now, time will tell.
Okay, so enough fun. Cranked right up, it's running great. and we made a real short trip to go down and get some fuel. Of course, we needed fuel. Part of what was done was replacing the fuel sensor that's in it with the newer version, and it's working great, by the way. And the first thing that I noticed when I pulled out was it did not hesitate or skip or try to resist going. It just went. It responded to the throttle immediately. First time it's really done that well, just pulling off while it was still cold. Usually when it was cold, it was worse. I had to give it 5 minutes or so at least before I could even think about it running good. But right off, it was running much better than I anticipated. So we ran, I'm not sure, 5 miles, if that far. I don't even think it was that far. We ran, and it did very well going down the road. And at this point, I actually got a little punchy with it, kind of giving it throttle, speeding up, slowing down, seeing how it would do. Tried a few of the tricks I'd done before, which would intentionally cause it to stumble. And it ran clean. There was no indication that it wanted to stumble or hesitate or anything like that. So I'm really hoping that this has done well and got the job done. Now, we pulled in to get some fuel. I do run the highest octane fuel. I run 93 octane. If I'm getting ethanol fuel, if I'm getting ethanol free, I run the 90 octane. And it's simply because I understand the compression is not high on these, and compression doesn't require it, but they can get very hot, and especially with mine giving me 400 degree plus temperatures on the left side, I am concerned about pre-detonation just from the heat that's built up in an air-cooled engine. And then, of course, we ran over to grab a bite to eat before we headed home. Well, we've not gone too far, but I can already tell you the rear brake is much better. It's not surging anymore when I go to stop. It feels good. The engine, sometimes it would run good, and it's in that running good phase right now. Hopefully it'll stay that way. It's strong, picks up. There's no oil on my valve cover there, so the new gasket appears to have taken care of that. And I've not gotten it fully up to speed yet. We're going to hit the interstate on the way home. I'll know more then. The alignment feels okay at this point. The sidecar frame's definitely level now, much more than it was. And everything's looking good there. So far it's looking great. It drives strong. I mean, it pulls away. I was able to pull away and leave her. So hoping for the best here. It's looking good. Jimmy Carter Boulevard. The afternoon traffic, about 4 o'clock. And yeah, this is what it's like. Anyway, didn't enjoy this part of the trip. When I made it to the interstate, it was great though. It ran well. But unfortunately, my helmet camera battery died, so I didn't get any of that footage for you. Well, I can finally introduce Sigmund. What's special about this rig is that it is a 2017 M70 Retro. I purchased it new off the lot at Ural of Pittsburgh back in August of 2018. It was kind of a show bike there. They set it out front and showed it off to everyone. Got a lot of attention. The color really stands out, and I'd originally wanted a black retro, and when I saw this one, I just kind of fell in love with the white. The most frustrating issue has been the engine would not always run clean. When it ran clean, it was great, smooth. It was a little stoppy-starty on the throttle. Basically, your throttle is more of an on-off switch than any feathering, and that was annoying. But the main annoyance was the issue with just it would get in a mode where it would run awful. It would decelerate, just not clean. You couldn't feather it. It would stall, hesitate, and it looks like we have gotten that out. The mechanic went over several things, and he also cleared and flashed both ECUs and double checked everything, checked the fuel pump for fuel pressure, Just basically went over the whole thing, made a few minor adjustments, and I think the issue more likely was the ECUs. Now, I just rode it about 70 miles. It ran great. The first part of that, about 20 miles of it, was in stop and go traffic. We got onto the interstate, 15, probably up to 17 miles of it was at 65 miles per hour on Interstate 20 here in Georgia, just holding the rig at 65. It never hesitated, never skipped. It did great. Then we got onto country roads. It did great there all the way home. I'll just have to, I've got my fingers crossed that whatever it was, we got that out of it. Warranty-wise, the only other more major issue was we did have a top-end oil leak while we were on a trip to Florida with it. I've got close to 4,000 miles on it now. And we got that fixed. It was a cush seal going into the alternator, but when we pulled the alternator, we discovered that a bearing or something in it was not right. It was hard to turn and making noise. And I noticed when the new alternator went on, and of course the cush seal to fix the oil leak itself, a sound of ringing, almost like taking a washer and running it around on a steel rod, was gone. Whatever that noise was the alternator. So it's pretty much run out now. It looks great. Rode great. Knock on wood, it's going to keep going that way. And I'm really going to start applying the throttle now and getting out and riding this thing, finishing my break-in, which is the first 10,000 miles. I'm coming up on 4,000 now. And I like to have 10,000 miles on them before I really start to get comfortable and start trusting things. So my wife's rig gets coming up on 7,000 miles now. We bought it used, and it had 3,000 miles on it when we got it. It's been doing great from the go. The only major issue we had with it was on the way back from Florida. We rode through some really heavy rain and standing water on the interstate, and the right-hand ECU went out. They put a new ECU on it, and it's going. Only other warranty issue we've had with this is replacing the speedometer because it started misbehaving, but those are known issues and minor in comparison to leaving you walking. So here we go with Sigmund. I wanted to do kind of an official introduction. Again, it's a 2017 M70 Retro. It's the Retro because it has the reverse lever here on the tank. And we've been having a blast on it, despite everything. I've been riding it anyway. And I had just put my own brake line. I ran up here to a local shop and found, and it stuck way out. And I had it looped in the frame once because it was literally 1.5 feet too long. But we're good now. My dog over there, Benny, he's given it approval. So I think we're ready this summer to really start taking some trips with this thing. I'm looking forward to it. I'm tired of short trips and playing with it, and I really want to get out and stretch my legs and get this thing going. I call it Sigmund for a couple of reasons. One, it's a big one-eyed monster, basically. So it's kind of if you've ever seen Sigmund the sea monster, and I don't know, that name just kind of reminds me of that. But the real reason that I call it Sigmund is it is my therapist. That's it in a nutshell. When I'm just feeling stressed out and I'm tired and just want to get away from things, this is what I go get, and I go for a ride. So Sigmund is my therapist. Delivery truck. If you like this video, Benny says, subscribe. Why not subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you'll know when we've posted a new video, and leave a like and leave a comment. If you like the video, if you don't like the video, whatever, just be civil and leave a comment. Leave a comment for Benny too. Benny says he would like to get comments because he is a good helper, aren't you, Benny?